So it was like, bop, bop. Me and my teammates ran right to the locker room, and we just bunkered up.
You could see the tears starting to come down and the parents hugging their kids.
It appears that this was a targeted event.
Breaking tonight at 7 o'clock, multiple people are dead after a shooting at an ice rink in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. This all happened about 2:30 this afternoon in the Lynch Arena.
It was supposed to be one of the best days of their lives. Senior night. The kind of evening high school kids dream about. Lacing up their skates one last time in front of a crowd. Their families in the stands. Their teammates by their side. The Dennis M. Lynch Arena in Pawtucket, Rhode Island was packed on February 16th, 2026. Parents were recording on their phones. Kids were laughing. The ice was fresh. Nobody had any reason to believe that within the next few hours, this night would be remembered not for a final buzzer or a trophy, but for the sound of gunshots echoing through a hockey rink. And here's the thing that makes this so hard to process. This wasn't a stranger who wandered in off the street. This wasn't a random act of senseless violence from someone nobody knew. The person who walked into that arena that afternoon knew exactly where he was going. He knew exactly who was going to be there. And he came prepared. Now, before we get into everything, if you're new here, welcome to Mistora Crime. I need you to like this video right now. Comment your thoughts below. Share this with somebody because people need to hear about this. Subscribe if you haven't already. And hit that bell icon so you never miss a story. These are real people, real families, and real communities that deserve to have their stories told. Okay, let's get into it. The game that afternoon was a matchup between the Coventry Johnson co-op team and the Blackstone Valley Schools team, which included players from St. Raphael Academy and several other local schools. Multiple schools in the area were represented: Coventry, East Providence, Providence Country Day, North Providence, North Smithfield, Johnston. These were kids from all over Rhode Island gathered in one place to celebrate their senior season. Families traveled to watch. Coaches were there. It was a big deal, and it was being live streamed. That detail matters, and we're going to come back to it. So the game is going. The players are on the ice. The crowd is in the stands. And then just after 2:30 in the afternoon, something happens that nobody in that building was ready for. Olin Lawrence, a goalie who was literally on the ice when it started, described it like this. He said he heard what he thought were balloons popping. Pop, pop, pop. And he thought, okay, somebody's messing around. But it kept going. And that's when it hit him. Those weren't balloons. Those were gunshots. He and his teammates sprinted off the ice, ran straight to the locker room, pressed their bodies against the door, and just tried to stay alive. Think about that for a second. These are teenagers, in their hockey gear, barricading a door, on what was supposed to be senior night. That image alone should stop you cold. Now let's talk about who did this, because this is where the story gets layered in a way that is genuinely difficult to wrap your head around. The shooter was identified by Pawtucket Police Chief Tina Goncalves as Robert Dorgan, also known as Roberto Esposito, born in 1969. And here's the part that hits different when you hear it. Sources confirmed that this person was the father of a North Providence senior who was playing in that very game. His own child was on that ice. His own child's teammates were in that building. And he still walked in there and opened fire. Court records show that Dorgan had a history of family-related disputes and legal issues, some stemming from matters connected to his gender identity. There was clearly a storm brewing long before February 16th. And on that Monday afternoon, that storm made landfall inside a hockey arena full of children and their families. Police Chief Goncalves described it as a targeted event. She said it looked like a family dispute, that this was directed at one individual who was a family friend. So this wasn't random chaos. This was calculated. This was personal. Someone in that building was specifically the target, and everyone else, every parent, every player, every coach, they were all collateral to whatever rage had been building inside this man. Now, remember I told you the game was being live streamed? Here's why that matters. Multiple people who were watching the stream from home recorded what they were seeing and shared it online. That footage is now part of the active police investigation. And according to a report from the Providence Journal, video appears to show a rapid burst of approximately 13 shots fired in just 6 seconds. Then silence. And then one final shot about 11 seconds later. That last shot was Robert Dorgan taking his own life. By the time police arrived and secured the arena, 2 people were dead. 1 victim was found inside the arena. A second was rushed to the hospital but did not survive. 3 others were injured. As of the time of reporting, police had not publicly released the names of the victims, pending notification of their families. But NBC 10 reported that a young girl was among those killed. A young girl at a hockey game on senior night. The Federal Bureau of Investigation and agents from the ATF responded to assist state and local law enforcement. More than 100 witnesses were being interviewed. Law enforcement vehicles surrounded the entire arena, and outside in the cold Rhode Island February air stood dozens of hockey players, some of them still in their socks because they had taken off their skates so fast trying to get out, waiting to be transported away from the scene on ripped buses. Just let that sink in. Kids in their socks, standing outside a crime scene that used to be their hockey rink. But here's the moment in this story that I think about the most, because in the middle of all of that chaos, all of that screaming and running in terror, somebody stepped up. Police Chief Goncalves confirmed that a Good Samaritan intervened during the shooting. She said, and I want to make sure I get her words right here, that this person interjected in the scene, and that's probably what led to the swift end of this tragic event. We don't know everything about what that person did. We don't know if they were a parent, a coach, a bystander. But whoever they are, there's a real possibility that their actions saved lives that day. In the worst moment imaginable, one person chose to run toward the danger instead of away from it. And that matters. Now I want to zoom out for just a second because there is a bigger picture here that we cannot ignore. This shooting happened just under 2 months after Rhode Island was already dealing with the aftermath of a mass shooting at Brown University, where a gunman killed 2 students and wounded 9 others. 2 mass shootings in the same state within 2 months. And according to the Gun Violence Archive, the Pawtucket Arena shooting was the 41st mass shooting across the United States in just the first 47 days of 2026. The 41st in 47 days. That is nearly 1 per day.
So it was like pop, pop, and I thought it was balloons, but it just kept going, and it was actually gunshots. And after the gunshots, me and my teammates ran right to the locker room, and we just bunkered up, and we pressed against my bad. I'm sorry. We pressed against the door and just tried to stay safe down in there. But no, it was very scary. We were very nervous. So yeah, it was very scary.
Where did the shots come from?
Yeah, it was the far side. So I was on the, like, where the Zamboni is. It was the far side of the building, on the opposing side's bench. Yeah, it was scary. It was a lot of shots. I think I heard 14.
Did you see where the people shot?
I did not see. I was so nervous. I went down and then I ran.
The Rhode Island Interscholastic League responded by temporarily suspending all games out of respect for the victims. Schools across the state were left trying to explain to young athletes why something that was supposed to be a celebration turned into a tragedy. And families who drove to that arena on a Monday afternoon to watch their kids play hockey went home changed forever. Every single student athlete from every school involved was confirmed safe and accounted for. But safe doesn't mean unscathed. Safe doesn't mean they're okay. These kids heard gunshots. They hid in locker rooms. They pressed themselves against doors. They stood outside in their socks watching police tape go up around a place that was supposed to feel like home ice. That trauma doesn't just disappear. And now I want to leave you with some questions, because this is a part of the story that stays with me long after the facts are done. What does it take for a person to walk into a building full of children, including his own child, and open fire? What kind of pain, rage, or disconnection from reality leads someone to that point? And why do we keep finding ourselves here, in this country, asking that same question over and over again? There were over 100 witnesses in that building. 100 people who will carry February 16th, 2026 with them for the rest of their lives. 100 people who went to watch a hockey game and came out the other side of something no one should ever have to survive. What do we owe them? What do we owe the victims whose names we are still waiting to learn? And what does it say about us as a society that a senior night hockey game is no longer a place where we can guarantee safety? I don't have all the answers, but I think we owe it to the people in that arena to keep asking the questions. If this story moved you, if it made you feel something, if it made you think, please like this video, drop a comment below, and tell me your thoughts. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe to Mistora Crime if you haven't already, and make sure you hit that bell icon so you never miss a story. These cases deserve attention. These victims deserve to be remembered. And this community deserves to know that people are paying attention. We'll see you on the next one.